Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Has the Republican Party capitulated to former President Trump because they just removed the powerful Republican congressman from Wyoming? The number 3 House Republican Liz Cheney was removed from leadership. So the question I'm going to ask in this episode of Ignition Time is, has the Republican leadership capitulated to former President Trump? As the top Republican congresswoman, she's still the top Republican congresswoman because she still has a lot of support. Liz Cheney, as she launches a blistering attack against her own party. I'm going to cover Liz Cheney's reaction. I'm going to cover important comments from the top Republican in the House, Kevin McCarthy, and a speech that Liz Cheney gave before her ouster that is just unbelievable in some of the comments that she made. Welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Let's start with the first clip of Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney basically saying she does not feel betrayed by the vote to oust her from party leadership. Let's roll the tape.
Congresswoman, do you feel betrayed by today's vote?
I do not. I think that it is an indication of where the Republican Party is, and I think that the party is in a place that we've got to bring it back from. And we've got to get back to a position where we are a party that can fight for conservative principles, that can fight for substance. We cannot be dragged backward by the very dangerous lies of a former president.
In the next segment, Congresswoman Cheney says, I quote, "We must go forward based on truth. We cannot both embrace the big lie and embrace the Constitution." Wow. Let's roll the tape and check this out.
We must go forward based on truth. We cannot both embrace the big lie and embrace the Constitution. And going forward, the nation needs it. The nation needs a strong Republican Party. The nation needs a party that is based upon fundamental principles of conservatism. And I am committed and dedicated to ensuring that that's how this party goes forward, and I plan to lead the fight to do that.
So let's start to get some reactions. Let's start with the reaction from Congressman Adam Kinzinger, who's a Republican from the state of Illinois. He said after today's vote to oust Liz Cheney from leadership, he said basically it's time to move on from her. Let's roll the tape and check this out.
What did McCarthy say?
Basically, it's time to move on from her. He said, we have to be unified and continue with this whole unity theme. And look, I'm all for unity. I'm all for unity and truth. Truth cannot coexist with lies.
Now, folks, it's very clear why Liz Cheney has been ousted. She made her opposition to former President Trump clear after the insurrection on the 6th of January. Here's Liz Cheney once again saying, I will do everything I can to ensure that the former president never again gets anywhere near the Oval Office. Let's roll the tape and check this out.
I will do everything I can to ensure that the former president never again gets anywhere near the Oval Office. We have seen the danger that he continues to provoke with his language. We have seen his lack of commitment and dedication to the Constitution. And I think it's very important that we make sure whomever we elect is somebody who will be faithful to the Constitution.
So I have a question for you. Do you think the former president bears responsibility for what happened on the 6th of January? Clearly, right now, the Republican leadership thinks that Liz Cheney should be ousted from leadership for her position. But let's take a look at what Kevin McCarthy, the top Republican in the House of Representatives, said 4 months ago. I quote, "The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters." Yes, folks, this actually happened in another universe, in an alternative reality, but we live in a world that is just too bizarre to keep up with. Let's roll the tape and hear about comments from Kevin McCarthy 4 months ago on the floor of the House. Let's watch.
That doesn't mean the president is free from fault. The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding. These facts require immediate action by President Trump. Accept his share of responsibility, quell the brewing unrest, and ensure President-elect Biden is able to successfully begin his term.
Now, the bigger question for the country right now, for us to be able to move forward economically, is can President Biden, can the White House work with the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy? This is what President Biden said. He was meeting with congressional leadership, including the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy. President Biden said, yes, he trusts he can work with Kevin McCarthy. Let's roll the tape and watch.
Mr. President, you know what's happening with Kevin McCarthy and his leadership. Can you trust him and work with him?
Thank you very much.
on, guys.
Speaking of members of the House of Representatives, the House Majority Whip, James Clyburn, who's a Democrat from South Carolina, who many can claim was responsible for the election of President Joe Biden because James Clyburn helped President Biden win some crucial primaries. This is what Clyburn said. He said the Republican Party is imploding. Let's roll the tape and check out what James Clyburn had to say.
I think it's a sad day for us to be witnessing what is happening to what I call an implosion within the Republican Party.
So what did the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, had to say about Cheney's ouster? He said this, and I quote, "It's truly a dangerous, dangerous sign of our times that the price of admission in today's Republican Party is silence in the face of proven lies, provable lies." Pretty incredible. Let's roll the tape and hear from the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, on the floor of the United States Senate about the capitulation of the Republican Party into a cult, the cult of one. Let's watch.
It appears that the big lie is no longer on the retreat among Republicans, but instead is spreading like a cancer. Far be it from me to tell House Republicans who should lead them, but it's truly a dangerous, dangerous sign of our times that the price of admission in today's Republican Party is silence in the face of provable lies.
Speaking of capitulation, speaking of cults, politics is about timing, opportunity, tribalism, and perception. And in a classic example of us against them, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, who's a Republican from Colorado, said that teaching critical race theory in schools is nothing more than modern day racism. She said, Democrats want to teach our children to hate each other. Wow. I don't know where these guys pull stuff out of, these Republicans, but some of this is downright bizarre. Welcome to another episode of the DC Comedy Hour. Yes, another episode of the DC Comedy Hour nonsense from Lauren Boebert, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, the Republican from Colorado. Let's roll the tape and see what she had to say.
Our children are so valuable. Their future is so valuable, and we cannot lose it to something like this racist, critical race theory. Racist Democrats have always been after our children. They pushed for segregation in schools in the 60s, and now they're pushing this critical race theory in our schools, which is nothing more than modern day racism. Democrats want to teach our children to hate each other.
Now let's shift gears back to some incredible comments from Liz Cheney about former President Trump. She said Trump is a threat America has never seen before. Take a look at this article on your screen from Axios. She said Trump is a threat that America has never seen before. Pretty incredible comment from Liz Cheney. Now, in case you want to see Liz Cheney's full remarks before her ouster on the floor of the House of Representatives, here's an article on your screen which is the entire transcript of Liz Cheney's remarks on the House floor on the night before her removal from the leadership post. So we'll show you this article. We'll provide you with a link to this article in the description section below. So make sure you check it out. Some pretty incredible comments from Congresswoman Liz Cheney from Wyoming. And what's even more ironic is as Congresswoman Cheney was speaking, and this was reported by the chief national affairs correspondent for CNN, Jeff Zeleny, and you'll see Jeff's tweet on your screen right now. As Liz Cheney was speaking on the House floor, all the Republican lawmakers cleared out. Nobody wanted to listen to her. The Republican Congressman Ken Buck was the only member watching Liz Cheney speak. Again, pretty incredible, downright bizarre. Now, here are some important comments from Congresswoman Liz Cheney that really jumped out at me. She said this, and I quote, "Every one of us who has sworn the oath must act to prevent the unraveling of our democracy. This is not about policy. This is not about partisanship. This is about our duty as Americans. Remaining silent and ignoring the lie emboldens the liar." Yep, she said that, folks. She's not done. She also said this. The election is over. That is our constitutional process. Those who refuse to accept the rulings of our court are at war with the Constitution. Yep. She also said this. This is not about policy. I'm going to repeat this. This is important. This is not about policy. This is not about partisanship. This is about our duty as Americans. Remaining silent and ignoring the lie emboldens the liar. I will not participate in that. She also said, we must speak the truth. Our election was not stolen and America has not failed. And she said, I will not sit back and watch in silence while others lead our party down the path that abandons the rule of law and joins the former president's crusade to undermine our democracy. Let me know what you think of Liz Cheney's comments in the description section below. Thank you so much for watching, folks. I will do another video on comments from Liz Cheney, specifically what she said on the floor of the House and the reaction from the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy. So make sure you watch that video as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. I want you to know I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.